Hey Algebra 1, here are your notes for 12.8, day 1. There we go. We're going to be talking about mixed expressions and complex fractions. So, you'll notice up here I've got a little bit of a definition. But we know what mixed expressions are because we're used to working with different types of fractions. So, quick reminder, we'll be using skills from 12.7. Make sure you know what the LCD is. If you have questions, make sure you ask. First example, we have simplify 5 plus 2 divided by n. Well, we can't add things that don't have like denominators. And further, we can't even add things that aren't both fractions. So we've talked a lot about this. How can we rewrite a number as a fraction? In this case, how do we rewrite 5 as a fraction? Well, the easiest way is by writing whatever number we're talking about over 1, because any number divided by 1 is just itself. So 5 divided by 1 is the same thing as 5. I now can say 5 divided by 1 plus 2 divided by n, except we don't have a like denominator. So just as we did in the last section, we have to figure out the LCD. In this case, we have a 1 here, we have an n here. If we take each of those one time, our common denominator is 1 times n, or just n. Now this already has an n on the bottom, but 5 doesn't. So what I need to do is multiply this term by n on the top and n on the bottom. Remember, because I'm multiplying by n divided by n, I'm just multiplying by a big fancy 1, which doesn't change the fraction. When I do this, I get n on the bottom, and I get 5n on the top. I now have 5n in the first fraction, plus 2 in the second fraction. They're both divided by n. We can't simplify any further, so that's our answer. Let's see that again with a little harder problem. In this case, we have 2 plus 3 divided by n plus 3. We need to rewrite 2 as a fraction, in this case 2 divided by 1, plus 3 over n plus 3. We don't have to change anything here because multiplying by 1 doesn't really do anything, but we do need to multiply this side by n plus 3 over n plus 3. Because, in this case, just as we saw in our last one, our common denominator is just whatever's on the bottom of this one times whatever's on the bottom of that one. In this case, if we're working with mixed expressions and complex fractions, it's always going to be the denominator of the fraction. So now I'm going to multiply quick. 2n plus 6 on the left, plus 3 on the right. I don't want to leave it like this because it's not quite simplified, so I'm going to have 2n plus 9 over n plus 3. I double check, it can't be simplified, so there's my answer. Let's keep going. I want you to pause the video here. I know we've only done 2 examples, but based on what you saw in the last couple of videos and those 2, I would love to see if you can try these on your own. Alright, hopefully you had time to pause the video and were able to give these a try. Again, we don't like working with a number and a fraction, so this becomes 4 over 1 and 6 over a. This one already has a 1, but this one does not have an a, so we multiply by a over a, not changing the fraction because it's just a big fancy 1. When I do this, 1 times a is just a, and over here we have 4 times a on the left plus 6 on the right. I could simplify that to 2 times the quantity 2 plus 3, 2a plus 3, but because it won't help me simplify, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it like that. Next one, same thing. I have 4 over x squared minus 2 over 1. In order to make this have the same denominator as that, I have to multiply by x squared over x squared. When I do that, my least common denominator is x squared. On the left I have 4 On the right, remember I have to distribute this negative, so negative 2 times x squared. There's not really anything I can do to simplify this one, so I'm going to leave it as is. That is my final answer. Moving down the page just a little bit. I almost said scrolling. We don't scroll on paper. Nice try, Burry. All right, we've got 4 divided by m minus 2 minus 2m over 1. Remember, I just keep putting it over 1 to make it into a fraction. This one already has a 1 multiplied, but this one does not have an m minus 2. So I'm going to multiply by m minus 2 over m minus 2, big fancy 1. When I do that, my common denominator is still going to be m plus minus 2. Sorry for that slip. On the left, I'm left with 4. On the right, I get whatever 2m times m minus 2 is. I'm going to distribute that negative, but I'm going to do it in just a minute. So I'm going to put whatever answer I get in parentheses. 2m times m is 2m squared. 2m times negative 2 is negative 4m. Now I can distribute that negative in and simplify. In this case, it won't really simplify nicely, but I will distribute that in and get 4 minus 2m squared plus 4m all over m minus 2. Now I could rewrite this in descending order and simplify. However, as I do that, I find that it's not going to simplify the problem any differently. It's not going to change our final answer. So that is how I'm going to leave it. Just like that. And then I'm just cross-referencing my notes to make sure that I did it right. I have a different answer in my notes. Let me check that. Maybe I can simplify that one step further. Aha! No, I can't. Because the first time I missed an M. So that is good to go. I was right. Haha. It'd be nice if you could see what I was right about, though. There we go. All right. As I did on the last one, I want you to pause here, try the problems on the back as well. There's only 2 of them, so it shouldn't be too much. And then come on back when you've had a chance to try those. All right. Hopefully you had a chance to pause the video, take a look at those. Let's jump in. 1 plus 1 over x. Same thing, write the first one as a fraction. Find the LCD. In this case, it is x. This one needs to be x over x, so that when I multiply and add, I get 1 times x, which is x, plus 1, all divided by x. Not too tricky. Next one, same thing. We're adding another element here with an h on top and bottom, but since I can't simplify that because the bottom's in parentheses, we're going to do the exact same thing we always do. My LCD is just h plus 4. I need to take that into account on this right side, but not on the left. So I'm going to have h plus 2 times h plus 4. It's another way of writing it. I haven't been doing it this way, but some of you will prefer to do the problem within the problem and then simplify. So in this case, h plus 2h plus 8 over h plus 4. I can simplify it just a little bit further and make this 3h plus 8 over h plus 4. And that is my final answer. All right, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know.